Powell says Fed needs more inflation evidence before cutting interest rates. Powell lauded recent declines in inflation, but said the Fed's job is not yet done, and that policymakers will carefully assess the economic picture before moving to reduce rates. On inflation, it is too soon to say whether the recent readings represent more than just a bump, Powell said. We do not expect that it will be appropriate to lower our policy rate until we have greater confidence that inflation is moving sustainably down 2%. Policymakers have raised interest rates sharply over the past 2 years, approving 11 rate increases in the hopes of crushing inflation and cooling the economy. In the span of just 16 months, interest rates have surged from 0 to above 5%, the fastest pace of tightening since 1980s. And this is what Mets owner Steve Cohen said. The Fed thinks it eventually going to come down to 2% inflation. I think that's going to be very, very hard. The Point72 asset manager founder and CEO cited underemployment in the U.S. as the reason inflation has remained stubbornly high, arguing a lack of workers could create upward pressure on inflation if economic growth remains strong. If growth is too fast, then you start getting constraints on labor and wages go up. And that may be a problem. We're in one of these problems where I don't think many people know exactly what is going to happen. Tom.
Wow, there's a lot here. Well, first of all, you have a billionaire who is running. Remember, he's not a billionaire sitting around doing nothing. He's a rich guy with a sports team. No, he's also, a finance expert. And he's saying, hey, look, the current economy in the United States, getting inflation all the way down to 2%. Now, remember, that may sound good, but it means that prices are still going up. And if you look back at the last 3 years and you go, we did it where we looked at, say, a box of cereal that was $3. That box of cereal right now is 33% up over 3.5, 4 years. It's almost $4 and it's permanently up. It's not going down. Every time you go in to buy that box of cereal, it's $4. And Cohen is saying it's going to be really hard to get that inflation to stay down around the 2% raise. And what Powell has said, before we cut rates, I need to get the inflation down there because he's trying to keep inflation under control. So Powell is trying to keep the rate of continual increase. Remember, when inflation goes down, doesn't mean prices go down. It just means they're going up slower. And Powell wants the prices to go up slower so that your wages you can get a raise every year, hopefully, and your wages can catch up so that if you get a 3% wage raise and inflation is only 2%, that maybe there's a prayer of the American worker catching up. And the rate cuts this year, right now, PBD, the 30-year mortgage, right around 6.75, 7.125, depending on your credit score. So it's staying there. And the rate cuts that we're looking at this year are only going to take those interest rates down to like 5.75 to 6%. So, and by the way, historically, a 5.5 to 6% mortgage historically is a good, reasonable mortgage when you look at it on a historical basis. So what it says is that the economy still needs help to calm down a little bit, and that prices are still going up, and the Fed and billionaires who are finance experts are saying so. And so that's what's going on.
And by the way, you mentioned cereal and that box of cereal. Remember Gary Pilnick, the CEO of Kellogg, said start eating
cereal for dinner.
I've been eating it for dinner. And listen, I've saved a crap load of money. I have high blood pressure now and I have borderline diabetes, but it has been killing.
Saving money,
Adam, save that money.
Save that money.
I might have a heart attack on the podcast, but I've been killing it.
You may get a leg amputated, but guess what?
Tom, bank account.
Cornflakes taste good when you're watching.
And my bank account's swollen, just like my leg.
And by the way, before I come to you, Adam, I want to read this as well, so it kind of goes together. McDonald's menu prices have increased by over 100% during the last decade. McDonald's menu by 100% past decade, outpacing U.S. inflation rates more than threefold, with complaints soaring over high cost, including $18 Big Mac meals in Connecticut, $7.29 for an egg muffin, and $5.69 for hash browns. Finance Buzz's study revealed McDonald's as the worst offender, tripling the inflation rate, while other chains like Popeyes, Taco Bell, Chipotle, and Jimmy John's also hiked prices at more than double the inflation rate. Subway and Starbucks, however, maintained prices relatively in line with inflation. Interesting to know, the study based on data from multiple sources and cross-references with official website highlighted specific increases, like the quarter pounder with cheese meal jumping from $5.39 in 2014 to $11.99 today. A 10-piece McNugget meal skyrocketing from $5.99 to $10.99, while McDonald's CEO acknowledged inflation's impact, indicating rising menu prices. Adam.
PBD, it's been so long since you had to eat at McDonald's, you forgot what a McNugget is. You're struggling.
Good friend. But I have kids, so they like McDonald's.
Yeah, this is sort of indicative of what's going on now. But from a macro perspective, the U.S. economy, the number one story in Wall Street Journal, if you go to that right now, they posed the question, what's wrong with the U.S. economy? And the answer is nothing. It's you. And it's all about perception is reality. And yes, inflation has been a problem. Yes, CPI, Consumer Price Index, has been a problem. Yes, soaring costs have been a problem, but it's actually been solved, but nobody's talking about it. So Rob, you have this? Yeah, here it is. Wall Street Journal, number one story today. What's wrong with the economy? Not the data, it's you. Every year since I've been doing money content for the last decade, 2/3 of the American economy is living paycheck to paycheck. It hasn't changed. People's spending decisions, people's saving decisions have not improved. It is what it is. But here's the problem. And it sort of like juxtaposes how brilliant of a marketer Trump is versus Biden. If Trump had the economy and the numbers that we have in America today, he'd be shouting from the rooftops how great the economy is. But Biden's talking about shrinkflation and Bidenomics.
And the moon.
He just, when Trump was in office, when unemployment was low, inflation was low, the stock market was soaring, he would every day look at the market. All the blacks have the jobs, the Asians, they love me. Why isn't Biden talking about this, you old fool? Say how good the numbers are. They asked the average American, has inflation moved in the right or wrong direction this year? 74% said it moved in the wrong direction. Wrong. It's gone down from 6% to 3.3%. People still think that we're living in the COVID inflation hangover.
No, that's not it, though. But they're feeling it in a different way. So what you're saying is, for example, somebody can turn around and say, but Adam, look at this. Biden is the president for the rich. What do you mean? Because the wealth of the top 1% just hit $44 trillion, highest ever, CNBC. So then I could say, under Biden, the rich keep getting richer, the poor keep getting poorer. What kind of a president is he? Isn't he supposed to be, so he's just helping the rich. He's just helping the Wall Street guys get richer. There's a difference between the economy being great for wealthy guys who have money and destroying middle America. Those are two different things. The average person saying that about the inflation, not the rich guy that's got the money. He's not feeling it.
Yeah, well, look, the shrinking middle class is not a Biden problem. It's been pervasive in the United States for the last 50 years. Not that I'm advocating for Bidenomics, but his whole premise with Bidenomics is the middle out, the bottom up, not the top down. The exact opposite of what Reagan was doing with trickle-down economics. But what I'm going is to the mindset of the average person. The average person, forget about whether you like Trump, hate Trump, like Biden, forget about Biden. The reality is the data shows inflation has gone down. It's been cut in half. The U.S. has rebounded better than any major economy in the world. Biden doesn't talk about it. Horrible marketer. They asked the average person, has your investments gone in the right or wrong direction in the last 12 months? 47% said the wrong direction. Newsflash, the S&P 500 was up 24% last year. The point is this, and you can go to the stats about states versus the U.S. economy, and this is what it is. No, I sent you a picture of it. We talked about the swing states, the 7 swing states. You ready? Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, North Carolina, Nevada, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. They asked the average person, the average citizen, how is the economy for you better or worse in your state? Rob, punch in. Every single state said 10 to 25% better. But when they asked about the overall U.S. economy, they said 25% worse. The point that I'm getting at is people know in their states, in their homes, it's actually fine. But from a macro perspective, because Joe Biden is such a weak, ineffective, and feckless leader, that's the symbolism of why they're like, the economy sucks, it's horrible, but the numbers actually don't show that.
And going back to the origination of the story, what was it? That McDonald's prices have surged 100% in 10 years. I think we're glossing over the fact that that's a blessing in disguise. That food is actually poison. So guess what? Go buy organic shit. Go shopping good. Good. Let them charge triple. Go to Trader Joe's or Whole Foods, and you can get the same amount of food for 1,000 times more healthier than what the hell they're putting in a chicken McNugget.
I'll tell you, it's not that Biden has a marketing problem. It's that he's an economic idiot, and his policies haven't improved things for the American middle class. You know, I'm married to a teacher, and I have great visibility over the last 10 years to teacher pay. There's no annual bonus if you're a teacher, benefits program, the erosion that happens to your health care insurance of the percent they pay versus you pay, despite, union negotiations or stuff. Although the BizDoc Babe has taught at private schools, there still is erosion of benefits. And you take a look at that, and then I look at a teacher with a child, and I look at, you're right, Vinny, maybe you shouldn't be, eating highly sugared cereal, but that cereal's gone from $3 to $4, and the stuff in the store has gone up. It has gone up. It's not a marketing problem. It is a look at my wallet and there's nothing there product, and I'm trying to raise a family problem. That's what's going on. And you can say, oh, this has been going on for decades, what's happening. Well, guess what? Every president has an opportunity to change it and make it better. And a recent president didn't start any new wars. And a recent president was trying to bring back American jobs. And the current president seems to be, hell-bent on indicting a prior president. So if we want to talk about it holistically, then just bring it down to the person saying, oh, your perception isn't the reality, or your perception isn't the reality. That's a lot of crap. People are looking in their wallets, and it's not making ends meet, and it's getting tougher. And it's not that inflation is down today. It's what inflation has done on a compound effect on the last 3 years. This plus this plus this plus this, and it's 33%. That box of cornflakes is very accurate representation of what's happening on the rest of the shelves. Gas may go down as a commodity, so it's, thank God, cost them less to get back and forth to work. But everything else in their life is at a new plateau, and they're fighting it every day. It's not perception that there's $1.1 trillion of credit card debt now. It's not perception that buy now, pay later was such a hit at Christmas, and now it's at a 40% delinquency rate. That's reality that's hitting the American middle class.
Yeah, there you go. I don't know if I could have said it any better. I don't have anything else to add, but then what you just said right there, I agree. They're feeling it.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.